Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. This is the Landmarks Committee of Manhattan Community Board 5, serving the Midtown District. Welcome, everyone, to new season, the first meeting of the season. Welcome everyone online. My name is Kevin Frizz. I will be your chair for this meeting. We have 5 items on the agenda tonight, 3 of which are from the Central Park Conservancy. Many of you are familiar with the format of our meetings, but just to give you a quick rundown, the procedures are as follows. Each applicant will give their full presentation. After the presentation, we'll move to questions from the committee only. After questions from the board members, I will open it up to the floor to members of the public. Each member of the public who wishes to speak will have 2 minutes. If you are online, please use your raise hand function at that time. Once public comment period is concluded, we'll move on to committee business session. During the business session, only members of the community board will be able to speak unless recognized by the chair. Following the discussion, the committee will make a motion and we will take a vote on a potential resolution. If the resolution passes the committee, we will present it to a board vote for the full board, and the full board vote will be the official position of Community Board 5. That resolution will then be sent to Landmarks Preservation Commission, any relevant agencies, and elected officials. The next full board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 11th. Information on that meeting, any other meeting, are available on our website at cd5. I think that takes care of the housekeeping. So with that, we'll get started with our first agenda item, which is Central Park Conservancy, and there are 3 items. Okay. Are you guys online? Okay, great.
Yes, we are.
Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Kestenbaum. I'm the Vice President for Program Management at the Central Park Conservancy. I am joined today by several of my colleagues, Nick Koster, who's our Vice President for Design, and Harriet Provine, who is one of our great program managers, and our Senior Vice President for our Capital Projects team, Sandy Huber, is going to join momentarily. So we have 3 projects to show to you tonight. One is the concert ground benches. One is Bethesda Fountain, and the third is Grand Army Plaza lighting. So is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. One thing I just wanted to mention is the first item that we're going to show you, which is the concert ground benches. And please let me know if you're able to see the screen. We are just showing this to you for your edification. It is a pretty prominent location in the park, so we know that people are going to wonder what's going on there. We don't need a resolution for you from you for this because it's going to be staff level at the Landmarks Commission, and since it's replacement in kind, it is not going to the Public Design Commission. But we wanted to show you because it's a great project and we thought you'd like to see it. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick, and then we'll go through the Bethesda Fountain project and Grand Army Plaza lighting, which we are asking you for resolutions on.
Great. Thanks, Diane. So as Diane mentioned, the first project we're sharing today is an in-kind replacement of the seats and backs of the concert ground benches. Next slide. So the seats and backs have reached the end of their useful life, and as part of this restoration, we're going to be updating a few of the details and the wood selection for increased durability. Next. So just to ground everyone in the location, it's located at the southern end of the park, at the northern end of the mall, near Bethesda Fountain, and south of the 72nd Street Cross Drive. Next. We have a few historical slides to show you the history of this. This feature, it was designed by Olmsted and Vaux, originally as a tree-lined element that was leading to Bethesda Terrace. Music was a regular activity along the mall, and in 1862, the ornamental cast iron bandstand designed by Jacob Ray Mould was built, and you can see that in the back of the picture here. So to accommodate the sizable crowds at these performances, the mall was redesigned by Vaux in 1873, and that's when the continuous wooden benches with the unique design came in. Go to the next slide. So in the 1920s, the Naumburg Bandshell was built, and that was really done to provide a better venue for the concerts that had really grown in popularity in this area, and the benches were removed around that time. And the area was, the layout was really oriented more towards the bandshell. And the concerts continued in this area for many decades, but the photo we're showing you here is from the 1970s, showing how much this area had declined and really become a bit of an eyesore. Next. So an early conservancy project in the 1990s rebuilt, designed and reinstalled and replicated the benches. This is a photo of some of the Central Park Conservancy staff installing those replicas. Next. So over the years, we've done small repairs and maintenance on these benches, but it's now time, as you can see, for a full-scale reconstruction. So a lot of the bench slats are splintering or missing in some cases, and some of the posts are damaged and need some work. Next. So this is a project highlighting the scope. So what we are doing is we'll be replacing all of the wooden bench slats on the seats and the backs and replicating the unique flower pattern. We're going to be repairing, refinishing, and reinstalling all the cast aluminum bench posts, and we'll be removing and resetting the asphalt pavers around the benches. This is a project that we're hoping to get started in the late fall on, and it's going to be phased around this is an area that has quite a few events, phased around those, and we expect it to take between 6 and 9 months. So I'll stop there, and if there are any questions on this project, we can answer those now.
We don't have to do a resolution, so we don't need to do our normal formal project or process, but does anyone have any questions or?
Do we need to know what's the materials that they're gonna use for the benches and stuff like that, or wait till later for that?
There will be no later because we're not gonna do a resolution, but if you're curious, go for it.
Could you talk a little about the material for the benches and?
Sure.
Wanna know?
Yeah. So the current benches are oak, and we have been working with a wood called Accoya. It's a treated pine product. It's actually the same wood that we've used for the decking at the Bow Bridge and Gothic Bridge restoration. Both of those have been in over a full year season. They're holding up really well. Currently, we're working with a couple different stain manufacturers just to it's a very light colored wood. It grays out over time, but we're looking to see if there's a stain that we can get comfortable with the finish of, to really ensure that they look good. It's a really robust product, and we've been very happy with using this wood elsewhere in the park.
And everything else, the cast aluminum that stays the same?
They do, yeah. Yep, we're actually now currently testing getting one of those stripped and recoated. So they will be getting a new coating on them.
And the hexagonal floor?
Yeah, that'll be the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else? Questions on the benches? Okay, thank you very much. Even though it doesn't require a resolution, definitely appreciate you giving us a brief presentation about it, since that's obviously a major project.
Great. Okay, so we're going to move on and share the restoration project that we're planning at Bethesda Fountain. So if you want to go to the next slide. The last restoration of the overall fountain was in 1981, and the last restoration of the sculpture was in 1988. So it is time for us to come back and revisit this project. So we just want to sort of hit on the goals for this first before we get into more of the details. So some of the elements that we're planning to address as part of this project. The biggest is really the modernization of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems to improve its overall performance, the water quality, and its maintenance. We'll be adding an RPZ for code compliance. And there are also various bronze details that have been removed or lost over time since the original construction of the fountain, and we're looking to reintroduce those where feasible. Next, just to ground us, I'm sure most of you are very familiar with where this is located, just north of the concert ground benches on the other side of the 72nd Street Cross Drive, and this is the terminal feature of the mall. Next. We are very lucky to have many historic drawings from the original fountain to draw from on our research as we're working through the design intent and looking at the missing elements. Next. We also have a lot of photographs of the fountain, which have helped us with our research. This is one from 1873, highlighting the Angel of the Water sculpture, which was designed by Ebba Stebbins, and showing this is shortly after it was installed. Next, moving forward to the early 20th century, that's when the terrace was repaved with the paving that we're very familiar with today. And finally, this is a photograph of it fairly recently in its current condition. Just to note, so the Central Park Conservancy, we are managing it, maintaining the fountain, and that really includes the annual rewaxing and cleaning of the sculpture itself and any ongoing maintenance issues with the water flow or water quality. Next, please. So now to walk you through the restoration proposal, starting with the sculpture and the bronze feature. So here we have a elevation of the existing and the proposed. So the red lines are highlighting the areas where we are looking to recreate bronze elements. So the topmost one, the bronze applique below the putti, will be restored to conceal the exposed stone. There's a bronze lip at the middle basin that's going to be removed, cleaned, and reinstalled to address underlying issues that are causing a lot of the staining that we're seeing on the granite bowl below. The existing copper strips at the corners, they're not historic, and we're intending to replace those with floral bronze caps that are based on the historic documentation that we've been able to research. Below that, you can see a bronze flower applique at the niches. Those have been removed over time. Those are currently being 3D modeled with our conservation staff for fabrication for reintroduction. And then finally at the bottom, there's a bronze banding that is just below the columns, which we are designing to be reinstalled. Next. So, as we are in the Northeast and we're not able to have water in year round, most of you are probably aware that the basin itself is in extremely poor condition. It's cracked, it's deteriorated, and it's not actually waterproofed below it. So as part of this project, we will be fully removing the basin, matching the historic patterning in it and matching the color. Next slide. Over time, the basin wall that's also been thickened over time from additional layers of concrete that have been applied for various interventions. We will be removing that as part of our waterproofing and reinstalling a more historic profile. Next. Looking at the project now in plan, So all of the work regarding the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing upgrades, they're located off the fountain itself to the northeast. Currently, there's an existing vault below grade that's mostly concealed within the landscape. Next. So this slide is highlighting the upgrades that will be housed in this location, and it includes 3 new structures that will be screened by some existing and new proposed planting. Next. So this is a zoom in of that same plan, and it's showing the existing vault structure as well as the 3 new structures with their dimensions. So the new elements include a new RPZ, which is needed for code compliance, a below grade vault for the filtration equipment that we're going to need for water quality. I should mention here that that's something we've been doing on a lot of our fountain work in the park is creating recirculating systems with the fountains, but then also filtering creating a filtration system for that water and to ensure its clarity and quality. And finally, an electrical panel, and that'll be used for controlling the new equipment. So next, this is a zoomed out site section from the fountain into the landscape. This is really showing how most of the work is below grade as much as possible. Really doing that to minimize the visual impact in the park. So, we've really worked closely with our engineering team to make sure that we're sizing the electrical closet at most minimal size and only having the elements above ground that are required by code for the RPZ. Next. And this just is a more zoomed in section taken from the path to highlight the relationship of the park user to that space. And so as mentioned earlier, we're going to be using some new plantings as well as some of the existing to screen these very short structures on all sides. We also have the park topography working in our favor as it slopes towards the lake so that the visual impact of these structures are really minimized as much as possible from the park path. And that is our presentation for Bethesda. Looking forward to hearing your questions and comments.
Perfect. I guess we'll go ahead and do questions and comments before we move on to the next section. So just on the fountain itself, questions, Michael?
Yeah, could you go back to slide number 8, please? 8. I noticed that on one of the old, you don't have something that you have on the new. I'll show you what I mean. So here you have a little gizmo. Help me out with. You can't see what I'm pointing at.
Yeah, the flower they're adding. The flower that they're adding to the fountain.
Do you see what I'm pointing at? The red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the story with that? Why we?
Yeah. Do you want to take that one, Harriet?
Sure. So when we were doing research on the fountain, we did a lot of research both through historic documentation and also photos. And we can tell from the historic documents that there was a floral bronze element that was installed in all 4 niches, and there's also photo documentation of that. So what we've done with our conservation staff is use both the photographs and the graphic documents we have to try recreating them in 3D using 3D software. And then we're currently doing 3D modeling and doing different prototypes with 3D printing, and those would be reinstalled in place. The other with more evidence in terms of that flower is that there's anchor holes that used to house where the original flowers were anchored in that are now patched. And so we would be reusing those existing anchor holes so as not to damage any masonry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is exciting. Congratulations. It's really, great work and I can't wait to see it when it's finished. What is the color of these electrical sheds? What are they made out of? If you could, qualify that.
Sure.
And then referring to something that I don't know, RPC, RCP, something?
RPZ, yeah.
Yeah, what does
Sure.
that mean? Thanks.
Yeah, so the electrical closet and the cover for the RPZ, it's a very dark green color. We've you can see it throughout the park. There are, you know, certain like job boxes that are out there with rakes for staff. There are other electrical elements that are you know, tucked in various corners of the park. So it's I don't know, Sandy, do we actually call it Central Park Green? I don't know if that's the official color for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a very dark green color that blends in quite well with the landscape.
Great.
And then the RPZ, it's an element for water backflow that is required by code. And so any of the fountain work that we've done recently is all required the addition of one of these for the systems. We also have them in playgrounds and anywhere else where there's water in the park that people would have access to.
Thank you.
Questions? Sure.
In this diagram, is the light green the existing plantings, or could you just point to like which of the greenery is existing?
Oh yeah, so the light green is existing, as well as the lighter dark green. The new proposed planting are the three sort of dark mid-colored green, I guess could say.
The
Got it.
technical term of blobs.
Yes, I was going to say that, Diane, but
Got it. And then one more question about like the fountain. Could you comment a little bit on like the bronze that's going in? Like, is there a patina and how it will like look with new and old elements?
yeah, do you want to take that one, Harriet?
Yeah, sure. So the existing bronze, we're examining basically to figure out the correct sort of chemical composition. We do a hot wax treatment each year on all the bronze work. So any new bronze elements, we would try to align as much as possible with the existing bronze and also refinish it in exactly the same way. So it would be another hot wax treatment, which would have, you know, a similar patina to what is currently there, just sort of a dark brownish greenish.
Thank you.
More questions? I have two quick ones, kind of, one unrelated. This seems like a significant project. How long do you estimate the construction is gonna take?
Yeah, so we imagine that it's going to be about a year of construction. We're looking to get it started in June of 2026, and the goal is to have it wrapped up by June of 2027.
That's everything, including the benches that are gonna take 6 to 9 months?
The benches are a different project. So those we're expecting to start late fall of this year,
Mhm.
and they'll be phased, you know, over time to minimize as much as possible the impact of that part of the park. But for Bethesda Fountain, for this project, as Nick said, we're expecting to start June 2026, and it would take a year, so we would be completed by June 2027.
Just a follow-up, what will it look like during the construction period? Will the entire site be walled off or what?
Uh,
What will it look?
Sure, yeah, can we go back to the larger plan? Yeah, so there'll be that one would work, Diane. I think we could just talk to that. So there'll be a fence and staging area around the fountain and basin. The goal is for the paths that lead down to the fountain to be accessible so that people could circulate up through the arcade and up towards the mall. And that there would be another fenced off area around the vault as well. But really wanting to make sure that we're having the circulation open as much as possible within this area.
Suzanne.
I have a strange question. I'm sorry. But here it goes. So, is there any way that you guys, after you do this beautiful work and spend all this money, which we appreciate, to help the park not have this turn back into a skateboard facility? They use a lot of your fountain to, use your skateboards and so forth, and you don't have to answer that, I'm just articulating that, there's some skateboard parks that are going up in the city, you may or may not know that, but I hope that you guys have a way to manage that so that all this beautiful work isn't in any way impacted by skateboarders. Not that I dislike skateboarders, but maybe not on the fountain walls.
I know, and I agree with you, and with all of our work, as you know, the use in the park and not just park visitors, but all of the different uses, whether it's pedicabs or vendors or skateboarders. We talk a lot about it with our projects and how to manage that use. We have the Central Park Rangers, which we're looking to expand and have been a great addition to the park to help with, kind of dispersing this type of activity from the area. So it is something that we talk a lot about. We work closely with the Central Park Precinct and with the PEP officers at parks to help with these matters. But yeah, we hear you.
Okay, just, thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I have one more, just on the filtration systems. It looks like most of it is gonna be underground, which is terrific, but just based on the footprint alone, it looks like the equipment is gonna be much larger than the existing equipment. Do you have any worries about the noise that's gonna come from machines?
Harriet, do you want to speak to this one?
It shouldn't be noisy. The equipment was pretty well reviewed by 2 different engineers. We're trying to both minimize the footprint, which admittedly is still larger than we want it to be. But like not only that, because it's somewhat isolated and there'll be a lot of planting around it, I don't anticipate there being any sort of sound impact.
Final questions on the fountain? Seeing none, I'll open it up to members of the public. None in the room that I see. Any on Zoom? None on Zoom.
Kevin, did you say there were 3 items?
Yes, there's another one after this, the lighting.
Central Park.
Right now in Plaza lighting. But I figured that we'll do business session and resolution on the fountain while it's fresh and then do the lighting.
Right.
Okay. So business session. Comments, thoughts?
I have a comment.
Michael?
Who know we're talking about. So it's amazing that these people have to present this thing 5 times.
Yes.
I think we ought to let them off as quickly and as easily as possible. My comment.
I tend to agree. Any other thoughts, concerns?
Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
move faster. That's my only request.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so anyone want to offer a motion? Suzanne?
I wish you would.
Motion approved, second. No, second. Okay, I'll do the.
Yes, and
Call the roll.
please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Edie's is absent. Burstein,
Yes.
Dipple,
Yes.
Frizz,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kback. Mike Kback,
What? We got,
Yes.
Mike,
yes, what are we saying, yes?
that's the
Found.
town.
You're in favor. Well,
Yes, favor.
Miatovich,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Patel,
Yes.
Tuckman.
Yes.
I am a yes. Johnson,
Yes.
Pedrazi,
Yes.
Stamberg,
Yes.
Testa.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Terrific. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to the third and final Grand Army Plaza South lighting project.
Great, great. So this project, as some of you may be aware, is actually currently in construction, and we have an issue that's come up, and so that's why we are coming to talk to you. So we'll walk you through. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, you know where Grand Army Plaza is. It's at the southeast corner of Central Park, and we're talking about work at Grand Army Plaza North and Grand Army Plaza South. That's what we are looking for your approval on. But just to refresh some of your memories, some of you may see the construction fence outside. Grand Army Plaza South is currently under construction. We started this project in June 2024. We are completely restoring the fountain, restoring all the granite elements. We are restoring Pomona. She was removed from her perch earlier this year and is now in a conservation studio in Ossining. She's looking beautiful. We are expanding the vault underneath the fountain to give greater access to our operations staff to maintain it. And then last but certainly not least is all the amazing bluestone and granite curb work and everything that we're doing here. We're making the plaza accessible and doing a lot of different elements, including lighting, which is the reason why we are coming back to you today. So just really briefly, our project goals for this, this element of this current construction project that we have, we are looking to maintain the lighting levels required to meet public safety standards with historically appropriate fixtures. We, of course, want to meet DOT requirements for lighting infrastructure maintenance. And then sort of a new element to this is we are looking to add nighttime lighting to some of the really beautiful historic features in the plaza. So just to ground everyone and give you a little bit of background on this, this is the approved lighting plans that we have for both Grand Army Plaza North, which is on the right, and Grand Army Plaza South, which is on the left. This project was actually approved in 2013. We went through the public approval process for both plazas, and the north side went first. I don't know if some of you may remember the huge snowstorm that we had, I guess snow and ice storm in October 2011, which destroyed all the trees in the North Plaza. And so that sort of spurred the Conservancy to do this restoration project in the first place. We got the approvals in 2013, and given sort of the more immediacy in the north side, that went first. Construction started in 2014 and was completed in 2015. The South Plaza was expected to go forward very quickly afterwards, but funding issues and the global pandemic delayed it. We did start the project in construction, as I mentioned, in June 2024, and the expectation was we were going to complete the South Plaza as it was approved in 2013, matching also what was approved for the North Plaza. Specifically for the lighting, what we were looking to do was install this historic lighting fixture, which was a custom fixture we designed. It was based on the historic fixture. This is a photo from 1933. What happened when we got to the point in the construction in the South Plaza, we reached out to DOT and they said that we were not going to be allowed to install this historic fixture that we installed in Gap North. The issue comes down to this little button that's in this red box here, which is called a photocell. So some of you may be aware that DOT maintains all of the lighting in all public spaces, public parks in particular. And so we have to follow their maintenance requirements. And so they require something called a photocell, which automatically turns the lights on at dusk. Of course, it makes sense, right? You want to make sure that the lights turn on automatically and nobody has to go out and hit a switch in order to turn the lights on. But the issue was that DOT said we couldn't use this fixture, and they gave us two options. One is to use what's called a B pole. This is something that had been in the park prior to our construction project, but it's not a historically appropriate fixture, and it wouldn't match what's in Gap North. And the symmetry between the North and South plazas is a huge feature of it, and so we wouldn't want to have different light fixtures. The other option that DOT gave us was to install a larger, taller pole that would gang all the light fixtures together, and we could put a photocell on top. And given the issues with the B pole, we did not want to use that. We explored the option of this larger pole. And so we looked at different locations to put it, certainly off the landmark site. One is right outside of Bergdorf. It's across the street at the south side of East 58th Street. But there's a lot of infrastructure at that location. It wasn't something that DOT could approve given everything else that was going on there. The second location that we looked at was still off the landmark site in this sort of blocked off roadbed here. But this is something we found out from DOT that the photocell has to be on a sidewalk. It has to be lifted off the ground. So since this is on the roadbed, this was not an option. So what we came up with and what we're looking for your approval on is to have two of these poles in the south side. They are, we've decided on two of them for the symmetry, and we're looking for two in the north and two in the south. And we would be able to put the photocell on top of it, and it would satisfy DOT's requirements. These would be just outside the planting bed. We think for the most part, they would just recede into the background. These are things that people see in many locations throughout the street bed, throughout the streets, throughout the park. But one sort of additional element that we are looking for, that we figured we would take advantage of the fact that we would have these tall poles in the plazas, is to reinstall lighting at the plaza to light the General Sherman Monument and the Pomona statue and the fountain. So over the past few years, the Conservancy has been doing these lighting elements in different places in the park, really to highlight the historic features. This is the dairy, Belvedere Castle, the Kinderberg Chess and Checkers, and we just installed in the Italian Garden and Conservancy Garden in the northern end of the park. We are lighting the pergola and the fountain. It really looks beautiful. So we figured we would take advantage of this situation in Grand Army Plaza and do this for Sherman and Pomona. And we do have a historic precedence for this. So this is a lighting plan from 1956. These red dots show the spotlights that had been installed for both Sherman. Again, just to orient you, this is Grand Army Plaza North. This is the South. So these fixtures had been there for many decades. We have a few more details here. On the left, it just shows one of the floodlights that was on top of one of the lampposts. And then this actually is a detail of a 20-foot floodlight that had been installed. And this is a photo from 1982. This shows the 20-foot pole here that was there to light Pomona. This is another one of those floodlights. But these actually were removed in the late 1980s when the Conservancy did a restoration project. That was actually the last time that we did a full-scale restoration. And you can see their little hatches in these red dots. So those spotlights were removed. The thought at the time was to install them on adjacent buildings, the Sherry Netherland, the GM building, the plaza, but that actually never happened. So these features have not been lit in a very long time. So you can see what General Sherman currently looks like. You don't really see him very well. And then Pomona is basically in the dark, even though the fountain is lit, that light does not wash up and you don't see her. So This just shows a few sections of what we are proposing. Up here is just the overall section, but we'll do some close-ups. So this is the south section. Pomona is 31 feet to the top of her head. The pole would be here at 25 feet. The two poles here would match up. Just to give you some context, the lampposts are 12 feet, and this is the street lighting, which is just over 27 feet. And then I'll go to the north. Sort of the same thing, mirrored on the north side. Here's General Sherman at 24 feet to the top of his head. This is the 25-foot pole, a lamppost, and the street light. And the next sections just show in a few years when the trees grow in. And same thing on the north. So this is just showing the proposed lighting plan where this light would be directed towards. The lights we have checked with our lighting designer, these lights really would not wash up into, any of the residents at the plaza. They will be directed towards really Pomona in particular. Where the light could go is potentially in Bergdorf's, but nobody lives there, so they will not be disturbed by the lights. I also just want to mention we do have lights in the fountain itself, those pin lights, but those will not really impact this, and they're also turned off in the winter. So we did a few studies just to show what the lighting would look like on sort of these heat maps here that show what would be lit for Pomona. And then this is in the winter when those pin lights in the fountain itself are turned off. It would just have a nice lower wash on the fountain itself, but it would still be focused on Pomona. And then the north showing Sherman. And then this is what the fixtures would look like. There would be 4 lights on each pole focused on the monuments themselves. And this is actually what the photocell box, the control cabinet, would look like. So this is the photocell, this is the control cabinet. This is the little photocell right on top. And then I think we're missing a light fixture here. There are actually 4 of them. One other thing I just wanted to mention is that we have also spoken to our lighting consultant about these lights and any potential impact they would have on bird migration. What they have told us is that since there are larger buildings that are lit, they would have more, this would sort of blend in with what's already there. And we are also using a 300K light, which is preferable. It's a warm light, which is preferable to a cooler color temperatures is what I'm told. So it's something that is not supposed to impact as much what the birds are. But that being said, we would have controls that if there is an issue during bird migration, we could lower the lights, we could, do what's needed to, of course, protect the birds. So that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. Questions? Sona?
Thank you for the presentation. I live in the area and thank you for the presentation. I live in the area and I do think it would look really great if features were illuminated at night. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit on the design of these towers, including just how the 25-foot height was determined.
I'm going to ask Nick to answer that.
Yeah, so I think it's really fine. A few criteria. So the photocells themselves need to be elevated above any of the other lights within the plaza. So putting them in the upward, above 12 feet once you add the box and the lights itself. The 25 really came through really trying to balance not wanting to have the lights not facing up towards the monuments themselves, to reduce glare into buildings, but also that's really the best way to light the structures. And once the trees are in, as well as the existing structure, that was sort of what we use as our datum for the height level that we were comfortable with. Very similar to the existing street light heights.
Thank you.
Questions? Tony?
The photo cell that's on the lamppost, is it controlling that specific lamppost from turning on, or the entire lighting plan for that section?
The entire lighting plan for the plaza. So the two photo cells will be controlling the entire south plaza.
Just another question. So you showed earlier a different model lamppost, which I know for the photo cell you had to go with these taller versions. Do you still have the original design throughout those plazas?
In the north, correct, yes. We're studying if in the future it was possible to retrofit it, but now you know, we're working with the DOT to maintain those, although they will no longer support doing more of those.
But we can still, given that we don't have the photocell issue anymore, we can install the historic fixtures, the same ones that match Gap North. They will just be, they won't have that photocell in them.
Right.
And do you plan to do that?
Yeah.
Gina?
The whole, our reason truly to do this was so we could keep those historic fixtures and match what's in Gap North. And really, you know, because we're doing so much to sort of restore what the 1916 historic design was with the paving patterns, with the fountain, with so many other aspects that we wanted to keep those historic fixtures as well. The light fixtures as well.
How many historic fixtures are still gonna be left in, on the North Plaza and then on the South Plaza?
We could go back to the plan. It's quite a few. It's you know, they're 12 feet high. They're trying to think of
Just
the number.
take me a second to get there. Sorry.
Oh, that one.
Do you want me to go to the first
No,
one?
no, yeah, the first one. Let's go to the first one. Here you can see it's all the yellow fixtures are the ones that match the historic. So it's I think 16 per plaza, 14 or 16.
And then the wiring would be just from one of the towers that will control when all these lights go on simultaneously?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
My question is about the size of the control cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
which is mounted pretty high up where you have the four
Yeah.
lights. Maybe you can talk a little bit about, I mean, I think the size is a little unfortunate. Of course, I'm sure you want it smaller as well, but 2 feet by 1 foot by 16 inches is quite big. Did you
Yep.
consider mounting it at the ground? And I don't know if that would be worse because then it's sort of tripping or you know, sitting, kneeling hazard, but it looks a little peculiar way up there floating to me.
Yes. So it's a good observant question. We can't have, it has to be at a minimum, the bottom of the box has to be a minimum 12 feet off the ground. So we did study it in sort of mid-range and we found that to be more offensive than higher. We are right now, since we are just showing the box size that the DOT had said that they would fully sign off on. We are meeting with them weekly on this right now, as this is, you know, deep in construction, and we're looking to reduce it and make it less wide and more long, so it aligns more with the pole. We just want to confirm that with them before we update it, but the goal is to have something that is longer and narrower.
And follow-up question, seeing the diameter of those big floodlights, I understand why you want 8 of them, because you want it uniformly lit from all around the statue, but they also seem large. And did you, with technology improving and low, higher, better technology, is there anything smaller, and do you actually need 8 of them to light these?
You know,
Relatively small statues in comparison to the light, like the light, I feel like the lights are overpowering what you're lighting.
Yeah, our lighting designer looked at a lot of options and felt that this was the best fixture available on the market for the type of lighting effects we were trying to achieve.
Michael?
Yeah, one more question. Just to the north, on the other side of 59th Street, just to the north of the North Plaza, there is a performance space where there are oftentimes artwork on exhibit, you know, on the path to go towards the zoo on that path there. Was there, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Just to the north.
Doris Friedman Plaza, yes.
Julie, I didn't know it had her name. Was there any thought to shining one of those lights over there for that artwork that you oftentimes install on in that area?
So that's done through the Public Art Fund, and it's different each time. I think that would probably, if we did look at adding light for that, that would be part of a different project. You know, it's something there, it's a unique installation each year, and it's something that we don't have as much control over.
Thank you.
Other questions? Seeing none, okay, I'll open it up to members of the public. If we have any in the room still, do you have any online?
We have one, but they have not raised their hand.
Okay. So business then, comments, thoughts? Start.
I guess it's unfortunate that no one's here from DOT, so we could talk a little bit about some of these requirements. I agree with Karen. I think that this looks like something from like 1985. It's with no, you know, not being a lighting designer, I have no right in saying anything that I'm about to say, but the contrast of these historic plazas and the use of these lights, the size of the lights, the size of the pole, I understand all of that. I just find it unfortunate, and if DOT is driving the bus here in terms of maybe how many lights, or how big these lights, or how big this box, it's too bad that the DOT isn't here, because if we did not approve that, I'm just wondering if that would help Central Park in their conversation on the fact that they would prefer for this box to not be so large, just based on that it just sort of flies in the face of all that they've been trying to accomplish in restoring these plazas. Because the seamlessness of those plazas is what is so stunning. And all of a sudden, we're gonna have this thing that looks like it might be out and runway at an airport.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything except for that. I'm not contributing anything positive, but saying that this is tough.
Yeah. Personally, I find it tough to kind of conceptualize how these will look. And I know it's impossible to design it without, you know, is there a slide that you guys really think captures best what it'll look like being when it's all said and done?
The section?
Well, the lights and being in the
That's
plaza, yeah.
I think that's it.
And this even shows it as well. And I know it's a little hard to see.
You know what was helpful when we looked at the precedent from the 80s, the red ones? That's three-dimensional. Maybe we can look at that slide to help us understand these proposed black ones compared to what was there previously. I think they were red, which was unfortunate.
We just put them as red to highlight them.
Okay, just point them out. Okay, so let's look. So how tall were, we know then, if we know how tall these were, we'll have a point of reference.
Yeah.
And this one was 20. And this looks a little bit, this typically would be 12 feet. So this looks slightly lower than that. Maybe 11 and a half.
So 20 versus 25.
And these were 2 lamps per pole. We're gonna have 4 lamps per pole
Right.
and a box. And a box.
That's good perspective. You know, the previous slide where it showed sort of a ground level design. I don't know.
Which,
The one that you had just before, to initially answer.
this section?
The drawing, kind of from standing up, yeah, that one, or the one. Yeah, that one. I guess looking at it from that angle doesn't, they don't look as obtrusive as what I would have imagined.
I don't know if anyone remembers, but a few years back, there was a similar proposal for lighting at the New York Public Library in front, you know, where the lions and the grand steps are. And I think it was similar. They were very industrial looking. They were by the DOT and there were precedent of historic fixtures out there and it was a mixed. But there they kind of got mixed in the very tall mature trees and there's so much street furniture. There's flagpoles that run consistently and they just kind of got lost in the mix. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But here, it's not as forgiving. They're not as hidden. Maybe when these trees are mature, I'm not sure how close they are to the trees, but I do remember seeing something very similar at the New York Public Library.
Other thoughts? Comments, concerns?
Is it more palatable, with street lights 27/7, is it more palatable if it's more in slides over?
Who's whispering?
Cluster.
Who's whispering? Can't hear. Come on.
I was, hey, Mike, I was just pointing out that the street lights are 27/7, is it more palatable? You know, again, I'm not a lighting designer either, but if these tall lights are more closer with that cluster and can still accomplish the goal of lighting the statues, is that something that was considered in the design, such that it's not like sticking out as it seems like could be a concern here?
I think the poles would need to be taller if they were further away from the conversations that we had with the designers.
Yeah, I guess the issue is how do you balance the negative of having these new giant light poles versus the benefit of having the statues lit up at night, which I'm sure will look amazing once they're kind of in action.
Yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, I think it's a trade-off and I think the benefit outweighs these poles and maybe in 20 years when they renovate this again, the technology will be even more sophisticated in another way. And it sounds like they're willing, or they're working hard to also minimize the size of the box and orient it horizontally. And as long as they're willing to continue to advocate for that, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Does anyone have strong feelings against the proposal? Okay, anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, okay. Call the roll.
All right, Furstein,
Yes.
Dipple,
Yeah.
Briz,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Miatovich,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Patel,
Yes.
Tuckman.
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Johnson.
Yes, can I ask something? In the resolution, is it possible to maybe highlight what Karen said, that we were approving this because we knew that you guys were gonna do your best to try to work with the DOT to make this box smaller? Not, I mean, it's approved, but that we were moving forward on that, knowing that you guys were doing your best to minimize all of these elements so that, you know, with everything that's said.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, I think that's an important point to capture,
Yeah.
that they're doing their best.
thank you. Yes.
Pedrazi,
Yes.
Stamberg
Yes.
and Testa.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That concludes the Central Park Conservancy presentations. Thank you to the whole team. Obviously, we all love Central Park, and it's fascinating to see these presentations, especially from the fountain and Grand Arch Plaza, and, you know, the benches less so, but, you know, these are super important landmarks for all New Yorkers, so we really appreciate you all doing the work, and then on top of it, coming to present to us tonight, so thank you on behalf of CB5.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go before the full board on September 11th. You're welcome to come and speak during the public session, but you are by no means required to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Bye.
And next on our agenda for landmarks is 390 Fifth Avenue, which is West 32nd Street facade. Okay,
So, you want to see what?
sure, you can go.
I'll be sharing my screen. Well, hello everyone. My name is Ida and I'm here on behalf of the applicant team for proposing new louvers at 395th Avenue. Here with me today is Ariel and
Could you
John.
talk a little slower? That's even not even picking up the words that you're saying. Could you speak a little slower and loud?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So joining me here today are Ariel and John, my teammates. We are proposing new air intake louvers at 395th Avenue. This building is located in the corner of 5th Avenue and West 36th Street. So this building was constructed between 1904 and 1906, and its facade was significantly altered in 1960, when the original double-height arcade with ionic columns and bas reliefs was replaced with a more modern aluminum and glass storefront. In 1984, the building was designated as an individual landmark, and with the glass storefront alteration already in place. And then since then, the ground floor facades have remained unchanged, aside from like business signage and the louver enlargement in West 36th Street facade. So along Fifth Avenue facade, these louvers were already existing in place at the time of designation and have not been changed since. But when it comes to West 36th facade, there were smaller louvers at the time of designation, but in 2003, the owner applied to Landmarks Commission for a storefront work and louver modification and enlargement. So here you can see the already existing louvers on Fifth Avenue facade that are untouched. Currently, there's an interior and exterior renovation already approved by the LPC happening on the first floor for a small business tenant. Today's application relates specifically to the additional air intake louvers required for the new mechanical system in this space. And as you can see here, the proposed louvers sit on top of the storefront window right next to the existing ones. We are proposing the installation of 3 louvers, out of which 3 will serve as a source for the outdoor air ventilation and make up air for the kitchen and AC units. Each 3 feet by 5 feet, aligned with the existing movement of the storefront panel system. The proposed louvers are located at least 10 feet away from the existing exhaust louvers based on the 2014 mechanical code. And the additional 3rd louver, we are proposing is a non-functional one for design purposes, only to match the existing, but with minimal disturbance compared to the grand existing ones. So these photos just show existing storefront conditions from a street viewpoint, calling out the location of the proposed louvers, just to have a better understanding of their visibility from the street. And they're going to look exactly the same as similar to some other examples on site, such as
If we move on to the next slide, 366 Fifth Avenue, which has louvers on both Fifth Avenue facade and West 35th Street facade. We also have 404 Fifth Avenue with louvers on Fifth Avenue facade and West 37th Street. 401 Fifth Avenue with louvers on Fifth Avenue and East 37th Street. As well as other examples just along West 36th Street, such as 3 West 36th Street, 389 Fifth Avenue, and 70 West 36th Street, all with louvers along the street. This is it, so thank you so much, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Good.
Forgive me if I missed it. Are you representing a new tenant in the space or the building owner?
The new tenant of the space.
New tenant, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Who is the new tenant? I'm sorry.
The name?
Yeah.
Gio Iera,
Say it loud.
Gio Iera,
G-O.
G-I-O, Gio Iera is the new tenant?
It's a retail,
Yes.
clothing store,
No, it's a small restaurant,
restaurant.
yes.
Eugene.
So these
You can do
louvers,
it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
are these louvers for intake or for exhaust?
Intake. The existing ones are exhaust, but the ones we're proposing are only intake.
So they're taking air in for what?
For the kitchen and the AC units inside,
Taking the air in.
yes.
Where's the air coming out?
For,
Well, if you have a kitchen, you probably have an exhaust, right?
yes,
There's an exhaust system in the kitchen,
in the kitchen.
so there's a hood,
Yes.
and the hood leads to exhaust on the building. Does it go to the roof, or is it coming out of the louvers?
Coming out of the existing louvers, I was building a new intake louver to make up for the new system.
There's,
So the existing louvers will still stay there,
mhm,
right? These will be just for the air conditioning system.
And proposed new kitchen equipment. We're keeping the existing equipment, adding an additional system.
So in relationship to the old louvers, where are the new louvers going? Are they close to each other,
yes, side by side.
side by
So
side?
if you go to them, yes. So this is the existing and these are the proposed new ones.
So the existing will be like, what's that? 3 feet away from the new ones?
No, they're about 20 feet away from the new ones. Because it has to be at least 10 feet away for the mechanical code, so right now it's about 20.
So show me where the old ones are, right there, where the old ones are, where? On that drawing,
So what?
that's them? Where you're putting-
This is the existing louvers,
Okay,
the exhaust louvers,
Right.
and then these are the new louvers we're proposing for the air intake.
so that's 20 feet between them?
Between this and here, this is just for design purposes only, so we can match existing.
So the one all the way to the right is inactive, it's a dummy,
Yeah.
just so it looks.
It's just that it looks the same. Consistency.
It doesn't look like 20 feet to me.
Between here and here,
Right, the column's probably only about 36 inches. The size, the width of the door, maybe it's 25 inches.
From this point to the edge of the existing is 10. And then these are each 5 feet, which makes 20 from the beginning.
So the louvers are only gonna be built on the
These
two,
two,
I
these
got
two,
you,
yeah.
okay, I understand, okay,
And
yeah.
this is just for a study design to match the system outside.
More questions? Go.
Is the red gonna go all the way up? Cause it looks like that panel, like, it's just a taller space.
yeah, the proposed panels are only 3 feet high. They won't expand the entire panel height.
Got it. And as like a really naive person, it feels, I would have expected maybe them to go all the way to mirror the existing louvers, so the same height. Could you comment on that a little bit?
We decided to go with the smallest we can do just to minimize the disturbance. Because we can see how grand these existing louvers are, so for us, having a smaller design would benefit to the visual purposes.
Thank you.
Aaron,
Can you talk a little bit about what type of material the proposed louver will be, like the finish and the type of metal compared to the existing? Will they match?
Yes, it will match exactly. It's going to be a metal louvers, very finishes, a color finish, paint. So if we go, can we go to the next slide, please? Here you can see a little bit clearer, the existing louvers is just going to match the existing.
Have you thought about improving or cleaning or restoring or doing anything to that existing louver? It looks quite tattered.
We are not touching the existing louvers, but
Do you know the approximate age?
so this was approved in 2003, so it's not.
So those louvers are at least 20 years old. I mean, they look it, right?
It's a very good point. That you'll have something new and something that's weathered for 27 to sandblasted powder coat. We probably still use the existing material, just to freshen it up.
I mean, did you consider, like, why wouldn't you consider replacing, like, if the mechanics are expensive and that's what's behind and that's the function, but the louver is relatively, it's like a screen. Did you consider at all, is it cost prohibitive to replace these louvers so they all match and they're all of the same, you know, look and feel and thing? Did you consider that at all?
So we are representing a small business tenant, so we're trying to get the cost at a minimum while benefiting the area as well. Well, not benefiting the area, but more like considering the area as well. That's why for us, it was priority to propose the smallest, most efficient louvers.
Right, but
during the
my question was really, did you consider replacing the existing louvers to match them now?
believe.
Sorry, my name is John, I'm with them. Yes, for sure, the existing louvers will be cleaned and painted to match exactly.
Okay.
They're not this way. It's an unfortunate photo. And just to be clear, so right now, this is where the exhaust comes out. These are again, not necessarily dummy, but they're just letting fresh air into this space. And that's where you're kind of definitely getting your 20 feet from where the exhaust comes out to where your makeup air is. And the intake is for the makeup air, right? Every time you suck air out of kitchen exhaust, you gotta replace 3/4 of that air. That's what's bringing it back in. Then obviously the HVAC units need outside air to function properly.
Questions?
Comments?
We need to do public first. Anyone in the room? No. Anyone online? Seeing none. Okay, business session. Thoughts, comments from the committee? Michael?
Yeah, just so everybody should know, this is a famous building. It was the Gorham Silver Company that moved from downtown up to here, and the architect was McKim, Lee and White, very famous architect. Stanford White was the lead architect on it, and it's run by the Adams. Is Adams the landlord?
No, not anymore.
Who runs the building? Who do you pay your rent to?
I don't pay any rent anyway. It's the Schwabel. Schwabel,
Schwabel?
SCHWALBE.
Schwabi.
Schwabel. Schwabel. Schwabel.
Okay, I don't know.
A little bit of history for everyone. Other comments, thoughts? Objections? Tony?
It's unfortunate we haven't gotten this building owner to do a master plan, or at the very least, well, I guess not very least, it's a big job, but an actual restoration, because it's such a beautiful building. Very often used in movies and all that, because it's got the empire behind it when you see the top of it. So this side's got the original arches, the Fifth Avenue side has got a whole bunch of fun stuff going on that lower few floors. But basically the work they're doing in their spaces, it's not really disrupting anything historic. There's really just a mishmash of chaos already in that entire building. It's unfortunate. But what they're proposing is already there. It doesn't match anything, but that's the nature of this building. I don't I don't really know what, what we can do with that, except for a full restoration, which they're not gonna have.
Yeah, the one just benefit to the mishmash is that it's not on the Fifth Avenue side.
Yes,
Two more questions. What type of a restaurant is that?
it's going to be a fast casual Italian place.
And how long's the lease?
I don't know.
You say a Fast Guys Over Time restaurant?
No, fast, fast casual Italian.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I will
Okay.
get modern eventually.
I'm getting the sense, I don't hear any strong objections, but some lukewarm approval. It sounds like we're willing to all live with this.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. There's a mismatch of existing storefront infill over the years and they're not really making it any worse. This is truly a functional need to keep the business properly, cooking food, so. Agree, it's a missed opportunity, but I'm okay with it.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, all the roll.
Alrighty. Berstein,
Yes.
Dibble,
Yes.
Frizz,
Yes.
Harris.
Yeah.
Mike,
Me?
yes.
Yes.
Miadovich,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Patel,
Yes.
Huckman,
Yes.
I am a yes, and then Johnson,
Yes.
Pedrazi,
Yes.
Stanberg,
Yes.
Testa.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Unanimous. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, the full board meeting will be on Thursday, September 11th. You're welcome to come speak during the public session, but you're not required to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last, but certainly not least, we have 636 Sixth Avenue.
Remember lab.
Wow.
You can do it.
Perfect. Michael's pulling this up. We can all introduce ourselves. I'm Julie Rosen, with Spacebarth and Partners, with Preservation Consultants on the project.
Thank you.
I'm Robert Lafferty. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the New York Hotel Trades Council and Hotel Association of New York City Health Center, Inc.
Michael Lynn, Design Director at Gensler, for the architects. Shall we start?
Sure, yes. Perfect, great. So we are presenting this project. This is for 636 Sixth Avenue. The building's located in the Ladies Mile Historic District. So you can see in the map at the right, the building's located at the northeast corner of Sixth Avenue and 19th Street. It's a neo-Renaissance store building, 6 stories in height. It was designed by Buckman and Deiser in 1896. We are proposing very exciting rehabilitation and adaptive reuse of this building, turning it from an office building with retail at the base into a full building health center. We have an existing view on the left and a proposed rendered view on the right. The proposed scope retains the upper floors as they are, adds new mechanicals at the roof, and modifies and reconfigures the ground floor to support the new use. And with that, I'd like to invite Robert to speak a little bit more about the new use here.
The New York Hotel Trades Council and Hotel Association of New York City Health Center, Inc. is a private healthcare provider for the unionized hotel workers here in New York City. The Health Center, Inc. is a corporation that's owned by the Health Fund, which is jointly administered between the union, the New York Hotel Trade Council, and the Employer Association, the Hotel Association of New York City. They create by contract an entity known as the Health Fund, which owns Health Center, Inc., which purchased this building. We own and operate 4 health centers, private health centers in New York City that are solely for the use of the unionized hotel workers in New York City and their dependents. We have 2 in Manhattan, 1 in Brooklyn, 1 in Queens. The 2 in Manhattan, one is at 52nd and 9th, the other is in Harlem at 125th Street, Morningside. Our smallest and oldest health center is at 52nd and 9th, and it has outlived its useful life. And the trustees of the health fund purchased this beautiful building to replace the current Midtown Health Center. We are going to take this wonderful building and transform it from what was a multi-tenant building into a single tenant building that we will own and occupy, renovate, make more energy efficient, and make a magnificent world-class health center for our members. We run ambulatory health centers, so we're not an emergency room. We don't have any overnight stays. We're open predominantly Monday through Friday, 8 to about 6 p.m. We do have pharmacies in each of our buildings. There will be a pharmacy on the ground level. Again, it is for members only. It is not open to the public. We're generally a very quiet, boring neighborhood. That will be the use of the building, and I can answer any questions about the use.
Okay, so we have an existing and proposed axonometric view here. This is just outlining the three different components of the scope that we're going to take you through each of today. The first is we're proposing some ground floor modifications, as I mentioned before. We're also proposing some wood window replacement at the second and third floors, as well as the recladding of an existing rooftop addition and the addition of new mechanical equipment, again, to support the new use of the health center. Right, so just to take a step back in time, the building was constructed as part of the later development phase of the Ladies Mile Historic District, the time when the elevated was still in place. And the base of the building changed a number of times throughout the year. You can see that the storefront, it's easier for me to point out, thank you, that was erected with the building originally was even changed out by the 1940s. If you click to the next slide, we see that by designation in 1989, the storefront had been completely torn out, replaced with brick infill. This is what it looked like at designation. The only remaining historic fabric was in that easternmost bay on 19th Street, and that is still there. Next. This is an existing photo of the building. The ground floor storefronts and piers, those were all from a 1998 LPC commission level approval that essentially reconstructed the base of the building. So everything that we have at the ground floor here is non-historic. Some infill, the piers are actually a mix of cast stone and stucco cladding. The infill is aluminum. The heavy spandrel panels actually house rolled out gates for the private retail tenants. So again, everything there is non-historic. Above that, we do have the historic facade in place. The cladding at the piers above the ground floor are limestone. There's some terracotta detailing. There are some existing wood windows, the bay windows that we see here at the second floor. Those are historic. We are proposing to replace those in kind with a change in operation. All of the windows above were replaced about 15 years ago in aluminum. There is also a quite extensive scope of facade restoration work that is currently happening. So as you'll see in our mock-up visibility slides, there's actually pipe scaffolding all over the building right now. These photos were taken just before that went up. Just some other photos of the 19th Street elevation, and all of that non-historic ground floor infill does continue around 19th Street. We do have an arched multi-light window at the third floor in the middle of the facade. And then just a summary sheet of our ground floor conditions. As I pointed out in one of the prior photos, we do have the existing limestone surround and cast iron framing existing at the easternmost bay on 19th Street. That will all remain in place as part of our current proposal, but we are proposing to remove the LPC approved marquee and the non-historic stainless steel. And then just some detailed photos for you of the windows. Again, on the left are the wood bay windows. Those have seen some changes over time. There are non-historic mullions that were added to some of the center lights. Again, non-historic, but otherwise the profiles in the material are historic. We're looking to retain the look and the profiles and dimensions of those. There are, I believe, 5 of those windows that will be replaced. Michael will go into more detail for you later. And then on the right is our arched window that's located on 19th Street, also wood, painted black. There's only one of those, and again, we're planning to replace that as kind, but with a modification operation. Next. And then some existing photos of the roof. On the western portion of the roof, we have an open flat roof surrounded by a metal railing. There's a one-story rooftop addition that was approved by LPC in 2012. So that is existing, and our proposal is to just reclad that existing volume. On the right, we see a couple of photos of the eastern end of the roof. There's a lot of things over there, metal clad bulkheads of varying sizes, a large water tower, as well as existing HVAC equipment as well. We are looking to replace all of that to remove the water tower. Great, so this is just our transition slide into our storefront modification section, again highlighted in the pink on the right. So we are starting by looking at an existing ground floor plan. So as I mentioned, the prior use of the ground floor was retail. So this is a retail configuration. There were corner entrances for the retail use, and then the commercial entrance was located all the way east in that bay. Michael, that's circling. And so in addition to the commercial access, there was also building support, then located all the way at the east. If you click through, what we are proposing for the ground floor now for the single tenant use is a complete reconfiguration and actually moving the primary entrance to the building to the center of the 19th Street facade, creating 3 entry points within a single bay there, and then locating the staff entrance and other building support into that easternmost bay. So this is going to create a really nice symmetry, as you'll see when we look at the facades on 19th Street, kind of celebrating that center arch window and creating a much more kind of legible way to enter the building. So looking at existing and proposed elevations, we have existing on the top, proposed on the bottom. I'll talk about big moves now, and then Michael can go into the specifics. But big moves are really removing all of that non-historic infill and inserting new infill that is more contextual, not only to the building, but to the historic district. So we're looking at installing new piers clad in true limestone to match the floors above. So we're going to take out all the stucco and all the cast stone we're putting in limestone. We're also going to take out the non-historic aluminum infill and install new aluminum infill that's painted black with this tripartite configuration to represent other storefronts that we see throughout the district. There will be a new marquee at the new entrance on 19th Street. And I think in one of the bigger, more exciting moves, all of these misaligned piers that we see in the existing elevation, those are all going to be realigned and reconfigured to align with the rest of the building on the upper floors to create symmetry and nice continuation of that vertical expression. We also looked at other soil loft buildings constructed in the same period in the historic district. Again, those vertical pier expressions I was just talking about, we see in a couple of example photos here. We also looked at projecting elements of these buildings historically, marquees, canopies. We see this throughout the historic district, not only today, but historically. We also historically saw a variety of rooftop appliances. On the left photo, you can see chimneys, water towers. We see a lot of bulkheads in the district. So there's a very kind of active roofscape that you see in Ladies Mile that really is a part of the character of that historic district. And then 610 6th Avenue, which is just a block and a half or so south of 636. This was designed by the same architects. Just wanted to show this to you because this was a prior LPC approval for the construction of new masonry piers at the ground floor, where similar to our project, all of the historic infill had been removed. LPC found this appropriate to add new masonry piers at the base, including the installation of contemporary infill between the piers and the construction of 2 marquees, 1 at each elevation. And then similarly, LPC has approved other new storefronts at historic store and loft buildings throughout the historic district. Again, that typical tripartite configuration of a bulkhead, a large display window, and a transom. So that's really what we're looking to replicate in our new design. And then finally, we see a mix of historic canopies and new canopies that LPC has approved in the historic district. We see them a lot of times on side streets, so we do see our 19th Street canopies kind of fitting into this overall historic and contemporary context. I think with that, I'm going to hand it over to Michael to do the design presentation.
Great. I think what's great about our partnership is that from the very beginning, we were completely aligned on the vision for this building. We all love the building. We all really enjoy being in part of this amazing context. So we want to design together this building that really fits into that historic context. So with that said, I think Julie alluded to a lot of the design moves already, but the very key thing that we tried to do is to try to think about what was this building originally planned to do with the architectural moves, what exactly were the elements that we want to carry through, and how we want to adjust and adapt to that original design. So from the very beginning, we thought the first thing we have to do is to make sure that the base is redesigned to align with the original piers from above, so that the foundation of the building has the strength back again. And so that's why this alignment is so critical for us, is that before it was a spindly, thin piers, we want to make it more robust to align with the piers above. And then the second move that is critical for us is this tripartite composition above. We thought that was such a strong move for symmetry on 19th Street that this had to be the main entry for our building. So this is the new identity, this is the new vision and entry point for our new building with this new use. And with that said, with that tripartite composition, we wanted that marquee to span that, not only for function, but also as an architectural. The design of the marquee, we took the design of the cornice, the original cornice in that profile, and sort of modernized it a little bit so that the profile of the marquee has this curved and very gentle arc. And then it comes to a crisp edge at the ends. And that is the redefined modern take of the cornice. For the storefront infill, we miniaturized that arc and that curved feature, and had fins that project out that also has a very delicate and decorative type of treatment for the windows, window frames. And the transom that is really critical to the district, like Julie is pointing to, that is something that we'd like to continue that language through. So with the storefront, the darker infill between the new strong vertical piers, I'm gonna walk you through the materials. The Indiana limestone that we're gonna replace the stucco and all the different materials that used to make up the base, we're gonna now replace it with Indiana limestone. We're gonna try to match the color exactly as it is from above. At the base, it's gonna be granite, it's Deer Isle granite, and that granite is, you can see that everywhere in the district and around New York City. For the infill piece, we have the dark aluminum black frames, and below it's going to be as a little darker granite, just so you have that contrast between the piers and the infills. For the fluted GFRC panel, that's going to be the soffit. So this rendering is a little exaggerated just so that we can see the soffit above, but the idea is that we wanted to create this subtle arc language on the ceiling itself. And that is a GFRC panel that we're going to try to match the color and texture to the limestone. And here there's going to be a ring light that surrounds the perimeter of the marquee with heaters to keep you warm during the cold days. And this is, as like I said earlier, this is very functional as well. There's two sets of swing doors on either side of the central entrance that we hope everyone uses as a revolving door. We're gonna get into the signage and the lighting in a little bit, but the main sign for Manhattan Health Center is not going to be illuminated, but there will be a light in front of it that graces it very subtly so that it gets a little enhancement for attention. Then there's a lot of details. We can always come back, but we're gonna run through these a little quickly so that you see the full picture of it. This is the drawings of the storefront with the horizontal transom. And then it goes to before and after, and that arc, that curved feature is a continuous, it's a motif that we carry out from the exterior design to the interior design. So from the outside, you will see a soft curve at this cove light right as you look through the glass. So there'll be a nice raising light to enhance the top and ceiling. Here's some more details. And the marquee. This is the plan of the entrance and the RCP of the marquee. And as you see, the two heaters there, the surrounding lights and the entrances. For the previous entry for the building that used to be on the very, very east, we wanted to minimize the attention that it used to have. So because of our new entry, we're gonna remove the landmarks, the LBC approved marquee, and to restore it to the original design. The infill between the cast iron piers and transom will be a new black metal glass entry. The doors have changed its configuration due to the change in use inside. So this will be a staff and service entry. Some drawings. And for the signage, alluded to a little earlier, the lighting right in front will graze Manhattan Health Center, very subtly front. And the plaques itself,
I want to say the letters they're 8 inches tall, so very modest in scale in comparison to the marquee to the building, but big enough to be like.
and the metal plaques, framing the entry, that's also going to be very minimal, very tasteful metal plaques with the logo and the name of the position. Staff entry as well, very subtle, small plaques right by the entries to indicate what the entrance for. And we thought at the corner, it's going to be a defining moment. A lot of people are coming from the subway on 6th Avenue, so it's important to show people, hey, this is the actual address. So we're on both sides of the corner, we are putting plaques that indicate the address too. So part 2 is the replacement of the windows, the wood windows in particular, highlighted in pink here. There are 5 bay windows and 1 large arch window on the 3rd floor. Currently, they are made of wood, beautifully decorative wooden windows. Unfortunately, it's age and deterioration. They're no longer functioning quite well. And also due to the single pane windows, we are upgrading that system as well. So we are replacing it. However, we are able to achieve a lot of the similar features of the original wood windows. First, we are looking back from older photos that we are removing all of the new additions, so including these vertical metal pieces spanning here, and also these horizontals that are added afterwards. We are replacing it and restoring to the original design intent. With design windows, sorry, the original windows, as you can see, it has kind of deteriorated over time, but they're beautifully designed. So we wanted to keep the design intent exactly the same if possible. The existing windows, the 2 side lights are center pivot windows, so they operate like this. Unfortunately, due to the heavy weight of the glass and the way that it was built, cannot repeat and replace it with center pivot windows, so those side lights are fixed. However, for the current new use, there's no reason for us to open any of these windows anyways, so I think that being fixed, it should have minimal impact with the look of the building. Here are some of the details. This is before and after. We're attempting and trying our best to keep the profile dimensions as closely as possible to the original design intent. And here on the right side, you see the larger glass unit that we are designing. Yeah, finished, but still the wood, same wood. We're going to use wood, but we're also going to paint it to be black to match all the other windows that have been replaced throughout the building, so that all the infills and all the windows have a consistent language throughout. Also, one thing to note, the face of glass and the profiles and its relationship to the building face, we're going to keep it exactly the same. So there will be no change in depth whatsoever. Now for this beautiful arch window, we also are replacing with wood. And as you can see, it's also have deteriorated a lot over time. And here are some of the other photos. So right now, the existing window, the center one is also center pivot. The 2 small side ones are also center pivot. Unfortunately, for the middle one we could not make it an operable window, but the 2 side small ones, we are able to. No longer center pivot, but we are able to pivot on top. So those are operable, not that we will open it at all, but it is operable. And in the very same way, wood windows, we're painting it black to match the rest. Here are some of the details.
Michael, can you back, sorry, did you wanna look at the?
And just to clarify, this window is currently painted black, so the idea would be to just match the existing finish.
All right, so for the rooftop addition. The existing overbuild, we're keeping the exact facade line. We are recladding it. There is gonna be an operable glass front that opens up to a beautiful new terrace that we're designing. The only change in occupiable space is this extra corridor that connects to the second egress door. So we are designing this up to the current code. So there's two means of egress from this rooftop addition. So that is really the only thing that we're building as occupiable space on the roof. Now with the mechanical systems, we understand that the new systems and for the use of the building, there is a increased load. And there's all the new equipment needs to be for the foreseeable future. So they are a lot bigger, but we are attempting to push it as far northeast as we possibly can. Mechanical systems are right sized for use of this building. And as we go through later on, you'll see the view corridors. These are barely visible. It might look a little big on the axons, but this is the bird's eye view, but it is not as visible as in this. So this is the existing condition with a black metal guardrail with the rooftop addition and the water tower, which we will be removing. And here in highlighted in pink, that's the additional egress corridor that connects to the staircase. And the reason why we need to increase it here is because currently the entry point to this staircase, you open it and it's directly the first riser. So in order for it to be code compliant and safe, you need to create a landing. So this is why we have this really for safety issues. Safety reasons. Here are we're gonna run through a bunch of sections and sightlines. This is from across the street, looking up, so that diagonal is sort of the sightlines. So this is the previous and proposed. So the new equipment is set back as far north and as far east as we can. Section on 19th Street. Further east on 19th Street, so as you can see the water tower, which used to be a very dominant feature on the roof. We are removing it and you will see in the sightline, the photographs that it is now, it will no longer be visible.
I'm gonna jump back in here to take you through the visibility studies. So we did erect a mock-up, so all of the new units that you just saw on those axons, those were all mocked up on the roof, in addition to a new glass railing, which is going to be installed. So we're starting our visibility walk. We're south of the building, 3 blocks. We're at 16th Street and 6th Avenue. We see the building back here. This is a zoom view just for kind of a convenience and reference view, but again, this is the actual view that you see when you're walking up the street. On the right is a kind of blocked out view representing the mass that you're actually going to see. This is representing the new glass railing that is going to be visible. This black railing that's existing now, that's actually going to be removed. The great thing is that we can push the railing back to minimize the visibility of that, and this is going to be glass. We have very limited minimal visibility from 3 blocks away. Okay. So we're moving now to West 18th Street. This is just west of 6th Avenue. You get this little sliver view of the building. This is a view of the mock-up, just showing you that the mock-up was in fact constructed. And just to show you what we're seeing here, the orange is the new mechanical unit. The blue is indicating the required platform and railing that needs to be constructed around the unit for safety. That's going to be an OSHA style railing, so it's going to be an open pipe railing, and that could be painted to match mechanical units. Mechanical units are all going to be kind of a tannish gray color to really recede from view. The railings can be painted to match. So on the right, again, you're seeing that volume mocked up. This is gonna be the railing and the platform, and then the mechanical unit, again, a very limited view corridor here. As you move to the east or the west, you lose this view behind the adjacent buildings. We're now, further west on 19th Street, we're one block to the north. Again, a very limited view here where you just see the mock-up peeking out next to the building right across the street. We have the volume mocked up. You're going to see a little bit of that railing and then the mechanical unit above. The whole idea here, as Michael mentioned, is that these units, they're as small as they can possibly be. They've been located as far north and as far east as possible. And so we're getting basically these passing views as you walk up 6th Avenue and east and west. And the whole goal is to really not have this detract from the historic building at all. So these are, again, really passing views, really minimal visibility here, especially considering how much equipment is actually going to be installed. So we're east now on 19th Street. This is directly across the building. Our building is here. We're seeing the secondary elevation, brick elevation above the adjacent buildings. We're getting just this little peak of the new generator. We can see this rendered in here. Again, this is just being seen over the secondary elevation. One more from east on 19th Street. Here we just wanted to show this to you because as Michael mentioned, the water tower is going to be removed. So we're actually reducing some visibility on this elevation. We're going to actually see that historic pyramid line again. And then this is our last view. So this is north at 22nd Street. We're looking south down 6th Avenue. We see the mock-up here in the upper left corner. Just something I want to point out about this view is that we're actually seeing the new units and the associated railings over the adjacent building. We're actually not seeing any of this equipment over 636. We're seeing it over the adjacent roof. We're also seeing it behind the rooftop plantings, the adjacent buildings, mechanical units, water tower, bulkhead. All of that is actually hiding a lot of the visibility of our units, which is quite helpful. The color, that tan gray color, is really going to help the units recede from view. And we're going to really see it within that overall roofscape that I had mentioned earlier that we see throughout the historic district. And of course, with, excuse me, some of the taller buildings and the other bulkheads. So that concludes our formal presentation. We're of course happy to answer any questions and go back to any slides if you'd like to see.
Holy smokes. You guys had a busy summer. Have any of you seen any daylight? Okay, so there's a lot going on here. Let's just start off. Anyone have questions?
We're not going to be commenting on use at all, but did you guys ever consider maintaining a retail spot on the 6th Avenue side?
The entire building is needed for use for the members. We have a large scale health program, even though we don't program stays or we don't do no general anesthesia, but no, it is the entire space is needed for the tenants.
Okay. We go back to the marquee and talk about some of the lighting. It looked like there were two maybe vertical lighting components on each side of the doorways.
Yeah.
Of the base. Can you just talk a little bit about that and then the strip all along the outline?
Yeah, these are intended to be modern sconces on either side, just to get as minimal as possible, just to create an entry point.
A wash of light behind.
Yeah, and
pointing towards the view.
a lot of the inspiration is also, these are members that work for hotels and want to have this entry that feels like a hotel entrance, just to give a beautiful entry as they come to see a doctor. So this is very much, as much as it's inspired to be contextual, it's also inspired to be a hotel. So.
Can I keep on?
Yeah, keep.
Along the lines of hotel, are you gonna have staff, doormen outside?
There will be door persons, but there will be security. All of our health centers have active security at the entrances. We can look at, there's some, interior renderings here, or sort of floor plan but security will have sightline immediately at that front door. We'll also have security at the staff entrance as well.
So my question is going toward, why did you feel the need to put heaters out there?
So we have, as you can imagine, because we're a health center, we have people, some of our most vulnerable population are coming into these buildings. So we have very healthy people coming into the buildings, also people very slowly that come into these buildings. So in our experience in the health centers, when people wait for Access-a-Ride, people are waiting for a ride from a family member. And sometimes it takes them a long time to get from the lobby of the building out to the vehicle. And when they're outside and they're waiting, it can be difficult for them. So we made a decision to put the heaters out there. We'll use them when we need them. I want to make the same comment of the lighting, which is, we're not a retail operation. We're not open 24 hours. So the intent of the lighting here is really when needed. And for safety purposes, this is not going to be on at 10 o'clock at night illuminating, because we're not open, we don't need it, and we don't need to be spending the resources on lighting it. So just in terms of context for when we expect that lighting to come.
Thank you.
Other questions? Wonder if I could go just to the third slide, the deck, just kind of comparing the existing to proposed. Yeah, just that one. If I'm just walking along the sidewalk there, obviously visually it's going to look a lot different. There's sort of the barrier, the horizontal barrier that's up like 8 or 10 feet. That's going to disappear.
Right, yeah.
Is
that's
that
okay.
more in line with what it was historically?
So historically, yes, there was a very clear transom bar expression, so we are getting closer to that, but it was a completely different storefront system that was in place historically, both the 1896 configuration as well as the 1940. So we're really looking more towards the larger district context in terms of the inspiration for that peer articulation, tripartite storefronts.
So our new design, the extra transom going across is more aligned to this datum line that you see here. The previous rolling gate, that band is a little bit lower and spans across the portion of here. That was just purely for function, the rolling gate.
If you actually go back to the existing proposed, I think something I may not have mentioned, I think we're getting a lot more glazing in the new design, a lot more transparency, which I think is a big positive here.
And then just one other question on this, these two photographs, the black outline in all the windows, is that intentional? And is that kind of match these ones is sort of on the right side, kind of I guess that's steel. Like the
At
black
the
outline.
ground floor?
I'm sorry.
At the ground floor?
Yes, on the ground floor.
Oh, yes, that's just the new storefront framing.
Okay. And is that framing, is that contextually similar with in the black and white photo, it's tough for me to tell, but is that?
Oh, it's not directly referencing any historic infill that was in place at this building. The new infill itself, the new aluminum infill is a completely contemporary design, but as Michael mentioned, the profiles are actually referential to the cornice at 636.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a contemporary play on some of the historic elements.
Sure.
But since we're not removing any historic fabric, we thought that something contemporary in its place was appropriate.
Okay. And then just my last question, just on the bay window on the side, did you say that that's gonna be wood?
Yes, it's going to be in-kind wood replacement.
It's wood now.
Okay.
It's wood now, it will be wood in the new window. The only thing that we're changing with the bay window and with the arched window is the operation. And that's actually why it needs to go to a public hearing. So otherwise, the in-kind wood replacement, matching the profiles and dimensions that would otherwise be a staff level review, it's just the change in operation that's pushing us to the public hearing.
More questions?
I mean, I guess so. So there's no room to save the water tank. No chance of, you were saying about you trying to hang on to some of the historic material. Of course, that area has a lot of we're losing them all the time. It's a historic building. That's a historic feature. It does sound like it's in the way, but it also defines the area, and it was functional to the building, and it sort of defines the building as well. So can you speak to, I mean, I know it does look like a hotel. And it looks very contemporary, and modern. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know that it's contextually accurate to what the building, or let's just say it's direction, right? It's the direction you chose, but, so is the water tower then just sort of in contrast to this new sleek, illuminated, look?
So the water tower is not a design element. The water tower was about maximizing the building's efficiency.
So you have to take it out.
So for the overall, I mean, to the chair's point, which I appreciate, we've spent an enormous amount of time. We partnered obviously with world-class
I'm sure you did.
firm, and you know, the MEP designers, engineers, you know, have provided us, you know, what is the maximum optimization of the building from an MEP perspective, and including the water tower is part of that maximization. So I love water towers,
But
and
it's also, it's a historic feature, so that's why I know it might be in the way. So thanks for
It's a
clarifying.
good point, and thank you for asking about it. You know, I've dealt with this in the past with landmarked buildings. The discussions with LPC staff have been that while they are kind of part of the character of districts, they're not actually part of the district designations or the landmark sites. And so their regulation of water towers doesn't, they actually don't end up having any jurisdiction over.
Okay.
But
It's
it's
not
still
an
an
element.
interesting point, but I think to Robert's point also, you know, the roof space is very limited here. There's a lot that needs to happen on the roof and obviously done in a way that we can minimize the visibility as much as possible. And with that, it necessitates removing the water towers. It's a little bit of a kind of balancing act here.
Okay.
more questions. George?
If we can talk about the arched window.
Sure.
I mean, it looks to me like you're revolving the entire entry around that center of the building on the side street, with the arch window being a major focal point. Because you said it probably wasn't going to be used, was there any thought at all to maintaining it in place and putting up some level of a storm window, what we call city windows on the interior, just to increase energy efficiency? Was there any thought at all to try and maintain that window?
Yeah, we definitely looked at that, and the issue is the wood has deteriorated far beyond repair, so there is that level of, well, this is gonna keep falling apart. Building that interior storm window doesn't really help make this a better, doesn't really help fix the problem, so we wanted to replace it. Visually, it's gonna look exactly the same, but it's really about, you're just concerned about the functionality. Well, the large one, I think is pretty much glued on due to the layers and layers of paint that has been applied over time. So the two side one, I think, is actually operable, but the middle one isn't at all. So we didn't see a benefit to keeping the existing building strong.
So in your opinion, your research and all that, it's beyond repair.
Yeah, and it's also, yeah, single pane, and it's,
You can get a better product, better installation, better energy efficiency tested window if you install something.
and we're going to everything that we can to make this a very energy efficient building, including for the whole enclosure, we are putting insulation and then putting walls back. So we are essentially sealing this building so that it's hyper efficient as much as we can, you know, as far as we can actually go, but that's really the intent.
Just one last question unrelated to, well, Michael, go ahead.
A question and a comment. My question is, there's no signage or flags other than the marquee, the signage
Marquee and all the plaques that are,
and the flags, but there's nothing sticking out like one of those flags that's.
oh, no,
And nobody has a comment on the visibility of the new roof? Architect people, okay with that?
questions.
This usually that would be.
We'll save comments for after.
Okay, and the other thing, could you go back to slide number 6, I think?
Sure.
For those of you who are unaware, that at one time there was an elevated subway train that took people from town, which was south here in 1890, when these buildings were going up. And that brought the rich people to the department stores here to shop, which is why it's called Ladies Mile for shopping. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that, but perhaps there's somebody who did. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I just have one quick one, kind of unrelated to landmarks. Is the concept of this building, is this essentially gonna be a dedicated doctor's office building for hotel workers and their families?
It's a health center for hotel workers and their families, that's correct. So we'll have exam rooms, we'll have physical therapy, we'll have optometry, we'll have imaging. So it's an ambulatory health center. We have 4 ambulatory health centers in the city, 2 in Manhattan, 1 in Brooklyn, 1 in Queens. And the hotel workers that live in New York City receive their primary care and their secondary care in these health centers. So we don't do surgeries, we do minor procedures in these health centers, but we don't, anything you associate with a hospital, we have contracts with hospitals where we refer our members to those hospitals. But the primary care, secondary care, imaging, physical therapy, optometry, pharmacy, all of those services for our members are, they and their dependents receive those services in our health centers.
That's great. And all the doctors and nurses and whatever, they're all employees of.
Yes, so we have approximately 1,000 employees in the overall system. About 850 of those employees work in one of our health centers. So we have about 150 providers, and then staff that support them, including MAs and nurses and techs, and radiology techs, et cetera. So this will be one of the 4 health centers in New York City. It's an incredibly unique system. There's really no other system like it. We're very proud of it.
Obviously not related to landmarks, but it's just fascinating.
It's an incredible system.
Good. So hearing no other questions, public comments? One in the room, anyone online? Okay, comments, concerns? Peter?
Oh, well, I will personally miss the very elegant 636 awning that's all the way east of the building. The overall improvement to the neighborhood is gonna be spectacular. I also appreciate the fact that you take the opportunity for a full red sign. It's no retail. Just feel free to leave lights on.
Sure.
I'll just second that. It's a far cleaner expression.
Could you speak a little louder because it's.
I'll second that comment. It's a far cleaner expression if you walk up and down Ladies Mile than the current state of retail that's there. It's a far cleaner expression, even with the modernization, so. Just want to second that.
Yeah, I had a similar reaction to Susanna's earlier in that it's a little bit more modern bent than what we might like, but the overall design is terrific. And just for me personally. Other comments? Your motion to approve? Oh, sorry. Tony.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, these guys work very hard. The application overall is spectacular and very, very detailed. And even the thought of, one, maintaining the original components on that far eastern bay, just the forethought into making sure that that stays put is incredible. And then the vertical lines or sight lines, whatever you called them, that's something I think when they came to us for that awning way back when, that was something that was brought up, is how everything's kind of askew on those lower 2 levels there. So, there's a lot of great things here. It's unfortunate about the window mechanisms. Anybody who knows me knows I have to comment on windows. I love that they're going from wood to wood.
Yeah.
We don't see that all the time. Thank you for spending the money, making sure it's done right.
It is a not insignificant expense.
Yeah, the center pivot mechanism is something we're losing a lot of. I've never seen it in an arched window before. That's actually quite amazing. I think that is gonna be a big loss. But I think overall, in order for this building to modernize, we kind of have to go with that. The marquee in the entry itself, it does feel very modern to me. The lighting, the heaters, the strip lighting underneath, just feels very modern for that building, for the district. I'm not saying it's a huge negative. I mean, discuss if you like, but it's just something that kind of stands out as is not quite fitting. It's beautiful for that building. It's a major statement for that building, which is what they're looking for. I think it makes sense, but that would be my only concern. Nothing that I would vote no on, but just something I had to bring up.
Yeah.
And they comment on the visibility because nobody has, walking up and down. I mean, it is minimal. Right in front of the building in both facades, you don't see it at all. It's really a few blocks away when you start to see it poke up, and it's not significant at all.
Last comment? Motion?
To approve.
Peter,
Motion to approve.
second from Michael. Call the roll.
Alrighty, Burstein,
Yes.
Dipple,
Yes.
Briz,
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Payback,
Yes.
Nanavich,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Patel,
Yes.
Tuckman.
Yes.
I am a yes. Johnson,
Yes.
Drowsy,
Present, not entitled.
Stamberg,
Yes.
Testa.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
for your time.
Again, this will appear before the full board on Thursday, September 11th. You're welcome to here, but you don't have.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business. Payback.
Tomorrow at 10:30, I am meeting a group of people under the yellow button for a free garment district tour, at which you will not only visit a factory and learn how they make stuff, watching the people, union people making stuff and getting a freebie, you will also learn and meet the woman responsible for the garment district being at its current location. Did you know that there was a woman who's responsible for the woman?
Not surprised.
I will show you a picture of her and you will see her. And that's tomorrow. And then on the first Sunday in September, also a free tour, this time of the Flatiron District. And on that tour, let's see, you learn a lot of stuff, but what can I tell you? A highlight. You learn why Stanford White was assassinated on that tour. Do you know he was assassinated on the Madison Square Garden building? So join me on either or both of those tours. It's free. You're not happy, you get double your money back.
Anyone else? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Can you bring your name tags up real quick?
Right, where's that yellow button?
Where's the yellow box? He's kidding, folks. Everybody knows where the yellow box is. Right in the middle of the unit board number 5.